Call the Board of Works to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Steve, would you start us off?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah, let's switch the flags around. Nina, would you please do the roll call? Mayor Lynch? Here. Member Collins? Here. Member Lewis? Member Zanotti?
Here.
Member Williams?
Here.
We have the approval of the minutes from the June 22nd meeting.
I make a motion to approve the minutes of the June 22nd meeting.
I'll second that.
We have a motion by Steve, seconded by Scott. Are there any questions, changes? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. We have the minutes from the July 13th meeting.
I make a motion to approve the minutes of the July 13th meeting.
I second that motion.
We have a motion by Steve, seconded by Joetta. Are there any changes, any discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Unfinished business waiver of fees request from Housing Opportunities. Is anyone here from Housing Opportunities? I would recommend a motion to table then, since they're not here. I think we had some questions.
Well, that's a possibility, Mayor. But I think just to refresh our memory on this, we did an approximate calculation, and I think it was in excess of $100,000, if I'm correct. And although this is a great organization, I am familiar with it. I think to waive those types of fees, particularly with an impact fee that affects our parks, it's just not appropriate in my estimation. So rather than tabling it, I'd rather put it up for a vote, and I would make a motion to, because of the excess amount of fees that were being considered here for waiving, I would make a motion to deny.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. I have a question for the attorney.
Yes.
Since they're not here, is it, I mean, they don't have an opportunity to speak, so we can.
I certainly can, Mayor.
So we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. We have a special event request for kite flying event for LNL Foundation. Hi. Please state your name and who you're with, please.
My name is Karen Hannon. I am the founder of LNL Foundation. I'm also the owner of Zayden LLC. Zayden LLC, I invented a clothing line for children with cancer called Lounge and Legs, and the foundation carries a 501c3 status, and it's LNL Foundation. I have been doing the Fly for Life events for over 8 years now, I had one here, I had a couple in Gary, and I had 4 in Indianapolis across the street from Riley's Children's Hospital. I decided to bring it back this way. My first thought was to have it in Chicago because there's no children's hospitals in our area. But Chicago is so bad. So I reached out because my business is fashion and also for children with cancer. I partnered with MSK, Ralph Lauren Hospital in New York. And I thought about going to New York, but that was a bit too much. So they are allowing me to have the Fly for Life event in Portage in my city. The event will benefit them, but it would also be great for the city of Portage to get recognition from New York.
So is there money raised for this cause?
Yes.
Through this event?
Yes.
Can you explain to us how that takes place?
There's an admission fee. When you come in, you receive a kite, you receive a band for food and everything. There'll be vendors. Normally I have entertainment. In Indianapolis, I had the Indianapolis Colts cheerleaders and the mascot from the Pacers. I've reached out to the Bulls to see if they can come. There's face painting, there's a lot of activities. There's just food, fun, and excitement, and raising money for the event and for the hospital.
So you're saying it's at Founder Square. Are you going to be in that big grassy area because you're going to be flying kites?
I haven't specifically went in the area to know everything.
You probably
about
need
it.
to check it out because the Founder Square actual area is just full of trees.
Okay. Okay.
AJ, did you have something?
Construction project, when's the date of the?
Next year.
This is
It's-
for next year.
For next year,
2022.
August 6th.
The Lord willing will be done.
I would suggest you looked at it though, because we are doing some renovations over there and you might
Okay.
want to familiarize yourself with the area.
Okay. The whole space is not specifically just for flying kites. It would be an area, like I said, for vendors, the kite flying area, kickball tournament. It's a lot of things that go on. Actually, this year it might be something, next year for the dogs, because this is the
Oh, that's
campaign that I have now, and this is the product line for my dog. He has a product in Walmart, Walmart.com, and it's childhood cancer is rough. So I'm thinking of bringing dogs, because he's my son's emotional service dog, and he really helped us out tremendously. So I figured if my dog can save my family, he can, he works for the Foundation for Children with Cancer as well.
So then AJ, since this is at Founders and it's the RDC, do they still have to go through the park and get a permit? And then are there any different guidelines for Founder Square? Because if she's saying kickball and that, then you really need to look at the area to try to get
Okay.
that in your mind.
Okay.
I believe, if I could, yes,
Yeah.
the redevelopment, excuse me, I jumped in.
Yeah.
Okay. The redevelopment commission did give authorization to the Board of Works at the amphitheater site. However, Founder Square, they should touch base with Lori and the folks at the Parks Department to talk if the project is going to spill to the north.
Yeah. So just get a idea of all the dynamics that go
Okay.
on there so that, and like I said, we are doing some remodeling there, putting in a plaza, and that's starting in just a few weeks. So
Okay.
just want you to kind of get a picture in your head of.
Okay. And normally I have to, I didn't have to do it here, but like in Indianapolis, you have to have a map of everything, an exit plan, everything. I know the permits and all the stuff that, I would have to receive. If there's raffles and stuff, I know I have to go through the state of Indiana, and I take every legal action that I have to, for these events.
Okay. Are there any other questions?
No, I guess this is a great thing you're doing,
Thank you.
It is.
and I don't want to downplay that. But I guess for your benefit and for our benefit, I think it would be to our advantage to maybe see an itinerary, an agenda, and a finalized event plan.
Of course, of course.
So we know the scope of what's going on, so there's no surprises.
No, of course.
I hate to ask you to come back one more time, but I think it'd be beneficial for all of us, particularly on the board, because this sounds like it's very involved. You know, it's a ambitious task, as they say.
Yeah, but I pull it
And that's
off
great.
all the
That's
time.
great that you're doing that and for this cause. But personally, I'd like to see an itinerary, an event plan that is somewhat finalized
Okay.
before we give it the go.
Okay.
Does that make sense, board
It
members?
does, but I think the parks have some structure.
Okay.
And they would, I mean, she would really be, you know, answering to the park on all of those details, I think, basically.
Once she goes to the Parks Department, give them that information.
Well,
Yeah.
I suppose we could approve it with that contingency.
Well, I know that the park they have guidelines and things, so
Yeah.
they'll explain all of
Yeah,
that to you.
and I've worked with them before, and like
Yeah.
I said, I try to follow every rule, every detail of everything. I just wanted to basically secure the date.
No doubt in my
So I
mind that
can
you will
get
do that.
everything taken care of.
And the
Well-
only thing I wanted you to just get the dynamics of the
Gotcha.
area so that you kind of had a picture in your
Okay.
mind, so.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks, Karen. Do we want to?
Need a motion if we're gonna. I'll make a motion that we approve the L&L Foundation kite flying event for August 6th of next year, contingent upon our Parks Department's approval and knowledge of exactly what's going to be taking place.
I'll second that.
We have a motion by Scott, seconded by Steve. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thanks, Karen.
you.
Keep
Can I-
us updated if
I
there's
will.
anything we can do for you.
Okay. Can I leave because I need to go back to work?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
We have the LED Community Acknowledgement.
Good morning, Madam Mayor, members. I believe in your packet, you have a form that looks like this from NIPSCO.
Yes.
As you review the document, you will see that NIPSCO has an intention to replace all of the existing street light bulbs with LED. And they are asking a question of the City of Portage Board of Works as to whether or not we would like to go with the 4,000K offering or the alternate 3,000K offering. There's some information that I would like to share with you, some information that's been relayed to me about the difference between a 4,000K LED and 3,000K LED, and recognizing that this is the expected start date is next year. I'd like at this time to make a recommendation to table this matter for a subsequent meeting. I would like to share with you some additional information to better inform your decision. And if it's appropriate, I believe I can get this information back to you for your consideration at the next meeting.
And AJ, how soon do they need to know from us?
Based on the information that was shared in the board packet, as well as the cover email that was sent to Sandy, it appears that it's as soon as you can. We anticipate work to begin in 2022. In this cover, I do not see or come across a date sort of specific with the decision.
Just have one question, AJ, if I may.
Yes, sir.
Is there any cost to the city?
I do not believe there are. Yes, in the cover email, it indicates that the city will not be charged.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I know that was a question we had.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
All right, I make a motion based on AJ's Community Development Department's recommendation that we table this and have it on the agenda for our next Board of Works meeting, which would be the second Tuesday in August.
I second that motion.
We have a motion by Scott to table, seconded by Joetta. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you.
We have a solicitor's permit for Lux Exteriors. Is someone here from Lux?
Yes. How are you all doing this morning?
Good.
Good. My name is Michael Leese. I'm the operations specialist for Lux Exteriors. And we provide residential and commercial restoration to buildings, whether that be through like a homeowner's insurance plan or through a retail estimate. We offer re-roofing, re-siding. We offer gutters work. We also do offer some interior work to homes.
This was on the agenda last time, I believe.
Yeah, there was some, there was some confusion on the time of the meeting. I had spoken with someone with the city of Portage and they had told me 11 a.m. And so I got here at 11 a.m. and you guys had wrapped up for the day, so.
Sorry about that.
No,
We
it's
changed the times beginning July 1st.
Sure. Hey, better late
Probably
than
somebody
never, no
just forgot.
problem. I totally understand.
As with every solicitor, we require a background check for all the individuals that will be going door to door.
Sure.
That's for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
I know Deputy Chief Uzlak had been involved with that. I don't know if you have a comment at this time.
Yeah, we did have a concern. You had someone with some active criminal cases going on. I don't know why you
Yeah.
send them door to door.
Sure. We had one person that was listed that had prior convictions for misdemeanors. It was honestly just on the contingency that she ever knock a door, which won't be the case. She actually works in our office. I just know that she has provided service in the form of photography for properties before. So it was more of an overstep on my part to include her on our solicitor's permit. She's not someone who would actively be knocking doors day to day. Of the 4 people I believe we submitted background checks for, maybe 5, she was the only one that had any prior criminal activity on her record.
Is that an accurate report, Mr.
It was an
Uzlak?
active case, actually, not just.
Yeah. And I had advised that we just remove her from the application because it wouldn't be necessary for her to go to a property in the city of Portage.
So what you're saying is those will be, the 4 individuals that will be going door to door are the only individuals that will be going door to door in the city, the 4 that you've submitted?
At this time, we do actively hire for our sales department that performs solicitation. At that time, I could, of course, provide background checks for those individuals and resubmit them for approval. They wouldn't be performing any door-to-door operations until they've been approved for the city.
Because you
Well,
have.
I would have a concern if you
Sure.
were adding people and we didn't have our police department vet that
Sure.
person.
Absolutely.
So that kind of concerns me. Ted, did you?
Well, I'm gonna speak frankly, we're not gonna follow you around, all right?
Sure.
We don't do that.
Yeah.
And we're not gonna have you continuously come back to us to
Okay.
continuously check your background checks.
Sure.
You're applying to solicit this community.
Yeah.
I won't speak for the board, but I'm gonna tell you that you should be prepared with the people that you're gonna put out there. We're gonna vet them and leave it at that. We're not gonna continuously revet the people that you're gonna continuously hire to replace those that.
Sure.
That's our position.
Sure.
I think the concern was that if you hire anybody new and just threw them out on the street without our background checks, with the police department here.
Sure. Pursuant to the guidelines that have been provided to me for the solicitor's permit, it stated Safe Hiring Solutions, I believe, was the company that was recommended for providing background checks to the city. I did provide background checks for the current applicants. I would absolutely be happy to provide those for every single potential solicitor prior to them ever knocking a door in the city. I do understand that you're not going to check every single person that we hire. At least being on top of us totally makes sense. I'm sure that if you did that for every single exteriors company in the region, you'd have a really busy day ahead of you just taking care of exteriors companies. And to be honest, I think that we're one of the few exteriors companies that's actually made the attempt to apply for our solicitor's permit in the area. I don't want to name any names. I'm just intent on doing everything by the book as best as possible. I grew up in Portage. I actually lived off of Samuelson Road. So I can understand the city of Portage's hesitance to, having random people get hired by a company and just start knocking doors the next day. I would feel that way as well as someone who lives in Valparaiso. I'd be a little concerned if someone showed up to my door that hadn't been vetted by the city. So my intention is just to present those people as by the book for the city of Portage to review, just to be sure that they're up to snuff as far
And
as
so what is your
solicitation.
process when you're having people go to the door? Do you have like a, some kind of a training program that, maybe some people don't want to open their door, and how do you
Yeah.
approach that?
Yeah, absolutely. I actually brought my sales manager with me to the meeting. If you don't mind, I could have him take the stand and maybe explain a little bit further.
Hey guys, my name is Josh Cohenhoven. So basically what we do is we offer service. It's a free inspection. We knock on the door. Homeowner comes to the door. We let them know what we do, how we do it. If they say no, we accept that. We leave them a card and we simply leave. But basically we offer a free inspection. We go up there, we check for hail, wind, any kind of storm damage. If there is damage, we come back down, we show them the pictures on our iPad, and basically just let them know a true, honest opinion of what's going on with their house. If there's nothing there, we leave a card, ask for recommendations, and that's it.
Do the solicitors have credentials with picture IDs?
We can, yep.
You do have them?
Yeah. Laminated in a lanyard.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions, Joanna?
No, I don't. Well, actually, I do. So, you have 4 individuals that you've hired?
Right now, yeah. We're hiring more, but like you said, we can do the background checks on all of them and make sure there's nothing nefarious going on.
So my question would be to the board, if they happen to hire someone else, they're required to come back to us to get that approved? Are we going to keep, requesting that they do that over and over again, or are we going to just?
Or is that left up to you?
Because that's what he was saying.
Yeah.
that he
Yeah.
doesn't want to do
How will that work, Ted?
Someone's gonna have to review the background checks that they put in.
So my intention was to continue coming to these Board of Works meetings after this. So if you'd like, what I could do is, if we do hire any new, potential solicitors, we could hold off on them, of course, knocking the city of Portage. I could bring a detailed list along with the background checks for potential applicants to the Board of Works meetings and then present them to you on those dates. It might just make it a little more streamlined for you.
We typically get them, when they go to the clerk's office, we get them via our interdepartment mail, and
Sure.
we review them on return days.
Well, I just don't want to see this become a cumbersome
Sure.
thing, but, because if you brought them to us and they hadn't been vetted through the police department, there's no point in us approving something that we don't. I was kind of thinking, like, if you submitted something to the police department through the clerk treasurer's office, and they had a question, I guess this board, do we need to see every application?
Is there an outlined protocol for like other companies that have solicitor permits that are adding or removing people? Because I would assume there's
This is
other.
kind of something kind of new.
Sure.
So typically, the way that I understand it, and I think the city attorney would be able to speak more clearly to it, is when you ask us for the application, that's included in that package. Those are the people that are being approved.
Right.
So if you're changing the people, if you're changing what you're selling, if you're making any changes to that agreement, it seems to me like you would have to come right back before the board. But I think the city attorney would be able to answer that better.
So I think the board could approach it one of 2 ways. One is you could approve the applicants that they have and any additional ones subject to and contingent upon being vetted by the police department. That's one strategy. The other is if the board wants to know specifically who's knocking doors in your community, you could tell them these folks are approved, and if you add folks, you need to bring them back in front of this board.
Sure.
How many people what's your turnover here, am I asking, are we talking about?
It's not particularly high. It's just that we have a canvassing program where we do encourage new applicants to get comfortable at the door and get comfortable with knocking, speaking to a homeowner, identifying damage. So that for that aspect, there would be additional people added from time to time. So that would be,
Honestly, I would suggest this board having eyes on any additional folks knocking on doors.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're talking about folks beating on homeowners' doors.
So,
I agree.
I have another question. Are you gonna do this like in groups? You're not gonna say 1 week, we're gonna hire 2 people, and next week, 1 person, or?
Sure.
You're gonna group them together and bring us a list, say you're gonna hire 8 new people, and you could do it once at one meeting and then give them a date to start.
absolutely, yeah. I won't allow them to knock any doors in the city of Portage until they're approved by the board. If you'd like, we could do that both meetings each month, or we could just reserve that for 1 meeting each month. There are other communities in the area where they could knock. For example, in the city of Valparaiso, you have to register with the police department, or in the city of LaPorte, you also have to register with the police department there. As far as the city of Portage, I completely understand the contingency of presenting a list to, the council to make a decision. I'd be happy to accommodate that at least once a month, if not twice a month.
Well, we meet every 2 weeks,
Sure.
so.
Sure, whatever's less cumbersome for the committee.
What's the maximum amount of people that you think you'd have out in the street in the city?
Our goal right now is to have a total of 10 salespeople. However, that I don't want to use the word probably, but that probably would not all be in the city of Portage in one day. The idea is, of course, to work different communities and work with homeowners in different counties, and so I think probably 5 would be a comfortable number to confirm at any given time.
So it's basically 1 more.
Yeah. I don't want to make it, I don't want to.
Unless, of course, you have turnover, which I imagine there's a considerable amount of turnover in this type of business.
Yeah, I don't want to say that everyone stays in their position forever here. A lot of exteriors companies, I don't say they work together, but a lot of them have worked together in the past. I've worked with a lot of people at other exteriors companies such as Neighborhood Restoration, previously Mid-America in Chesterton, Indiana. There's people I work with now that used to work at those companies or worked with us previously that now work at those companies. However, my intention is not to have this fluctuation of sales representatives in the area. That being considered, all of those sales representatives would be vetted via a background check of your recommendation through Safe Hiring Solutions, and then presented to the board each month. So,
And how long is this permit for? Is it open-ended, or is it whatever we determine?
I believe it's 1 year.
Attorney Whitten, actually, I should have addressed you personally. How long are these permits typically for? Is it 1 year from the date of approval?
I believe it's 1 year.
I believe it's 1 year with an annual cost of $200.
Okay.
So when when one of your sales staff goes to a door and someone is interested in having some exterior work done, do those people go inside the home at any time?
Only if there was a statement of there being interior damage to investigate. That would be completely on the homeowner's comfortability or their willingness to state that they have any interior damage to inspect. Traditionally, and I don't have an exact percentage, I would say probably about 95% of the homeowners that we work with have purely exterior damage relating to the roofing and the siding, the gutters, the soft metals. So although that can lead to interior damage if it's not mitigated. So, but I would say that that's very rarely that we ever have to enter a home to inspect interior damage. It does happen, but not very often.
I have a question.
Sure.
It's actually addressed to the board. We, because of COVID last year, we didn't have door-to-door solicitations. Now they're open. But with this Delta variant going on and people not unvaccinated, we could make a reversal and back to mask. And, would we halt? Do we have the authority to halt their permit, or because we did have no solicitations for like almost a year?
Yeah, last year was real challenging.
He has a lot of experience with it,
Yeah.
with dealing with COVID, and that's one of the reasons that actually we do not like to go in other people's houses. One is because as much as we're strangers to them, they're strangers to us as well. And I've got my own, family and the safety and the health of my family to worry about as well. So that's one of the reasons I don't, particularly like going into, a potential client's house, barring any interior damage.
So what is our position on that? If we have to go back to a mask mandated and the county health board and state health board say,
We changed the ordinance
Just
to,
change.
to be able to enforce that if there's an emergency, public health emergency, whether deemed by the mayor or the governor or the county, that it can be revoked or, amended. And we split up the tag day and the solicitor's permit.
May I ask a question really quick in regards to that? If there had to be a freeze or a revocation of our permit to follow coronavirus guidelines, would we be able to consider freezing that from the date that the board decides and then resume our annual commitment once those guidelines are lifted? I guess I just mean, so that way if it lapses a year, are we going to have to pay another $200 to resume our permit at that point? Or would we be able to resume our amount of time from then?
Well, I think we could cross that bridge when we come
Sure.
to that situation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You probably would have to come before the board again if those circumstances came about and appeal for, and ask for a freeze.
Okay.
So, so then I would think we could take that up for consideration at that time.
Sure, that sounds great.
But that's a good point.
Yeah.
And I guess the other thing too is, I know that there are certain laws that don't allow you to mandate they have their vaccine, but, can they say to them, if you haven't had your vaccine, you're gonna have to wear a mask when you go to somebody's house?
We can do those sorts of things.
To Steve's point, Mr. Sonity's point, because this is strangers meeting strangers, to protect both parties, it may be to our advantage to require the solicitors just for a comfort level to wear a mask.
Sure. As a representative from the company, I of course invite you to, put in place whatever mandate you need in terms of whether we need to wear a mask to doors. If at some point we have to have, vaccinated door knockers. Of course, it's not something that's mandated at this time, but whatever mandate the city decides, we'd be happy to follow. It's not a problem. We actually have some experience in terms of kind of working with homeowners during the pandemic outside of knocking doors. Josh actually sat in the bed of his truck with a sign offering free home inspections to people without knocking doors, of course at their comfort level. With our company in particular, we've just left business cards on doors or in mailboxes. If need be, we do have flyers that we can print out to accommodate that should mandates ever be put in place again to where we can't knock doors. So of course we'd just be happy to work with the city towards whatever the best solution would be at the time.
Now, when you go, this is getting kind of long, but
Sure.
if someone came to my house with a mask and I didn't know them, I might not even want to answer the door.
Sure.
That's another thing about wearing the mask. If someone had a mask.
Well, I think and that's a good point, Mayor. But I think if they had the credentials and they showed the credentials and they showed the picture ID and as part of that initial contact, I think I would perceive personally the mask as just taking a COVID precaution, out of respect.
I think at this point, if we're gonna have the contingency for them to wear the mask or have the COVID-19 protocols and they follow that, it will be solely up to the homeowners if they're gonna open the door or not. I mean, at this point, we have done our part.
but actually, most people's entrance, you don't get like a foot
Yeah,
from the
yeah,
door.
to be
You're
when-
standing maybe on the first step and.
Absolutely. The way I train it too is that when we knock a door, ring a doorbell, is you knock it, and for the safety of the homeowner and ourselves, we take 3 steps back. So I mean, they're going to be inside their house. We're also stepping back because you don't want to be standing on top of somebody when you knock a door. There's a whole lot of things that can go wrong in that instance. So I mean, we're technically already going to be following the COVID guidelines because we're going to be 6 feet apart at that point. And plus we're outside. But absolutely wearing a mask going inside their house makes perfect sense.
All right, I might take a stab at a motion here.
This is gonna get.
There was a lot discussed, and it was a good discussion. I make a motion that we approve the solicitor's permit for Lux Exteriors with the following contingencies. One, if there's any change in solicitors as personnel or any addition to that list, that those names be vetted by our police department, and we as a Board of Works get the opportunity to approve those new solicitors. Sure. Number two, that masks be worn when solicitors approach the home and follow social distancing in that process.
In the house.
Is there any more contingencies, board members, that I forgot?
Dan, what do you think of that?
It was long, but I think got it done.
You're comfortable with that motion?
I think so, yes.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
You know, in the COVID world, guys, this probably wouldn't be happening, but everybody has to
absolutely.
protect everybody, including your solicitors.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for your consideration. I really appreciate
No,
it.
we appreciate you being here.
Sure, absolutely.
Makes
Look
it,
forward to working with you.
Makes the process go better.
You actually helped answer a question of mine, which was the best way to formally handle introducing new hires to the board. So that certainly answered, I think, my only question. So,
Okay.
Excellent. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. We have a tag day request for the Portage Fire Department. Chief Wilkening, present this request.
I was drafted. Good morning, Randy Wilkening, Chief Portage Fire Department. We are working in conjunction with 1-800-BOARD-UP. They do a tag day every year to try to raise funds for Hoosier Burn Camp. The burn camp is for kids who are burned in house fires and different types of fires, and they take these kids out for a week every year, and they're with other kids who are burned and have the same disfigurements and ailments, so they're able to be regular kids for that week. And so every year, that's kind of most of the fire departments in the area, that's more or less their charity of choice. So we're going to do Fill the Boot Tag Day on the 19th.
13th.
13th.
Sorry,
I got
13th.
13th in here.
Yeah, August 13th, Friday.
Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th.
You didn't have to bring that up. So,
We're the fire department, we live on the edge.
if you haven't read anything about the Hoosier Burn Camp, it's a wonderful thing, but also the camp allows parents to let their kids go to a place and the parents feel safe too, because they struggle letting them go to events too. So it's amazing. It's amazing.
You guys have done this in the past.
For a long
Yeah,
time.
we've done between burn camp and then muscular dystrophy. We've always done Fill the Boots for something. We did one for when Frank Gilbert was hurt. We did one for him also. So.
Yeah.
We have our own vests.
And you have boots?
Yeah, plenty of boots.
So we'll need a motion to approve the August 13th tag day for the fire department.
I make a motion to approve the August 13th tab day for the fire department.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Joetta, seconded by Steve. Are there any further questions? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Good.
Good luck
Thank you
with
so
that,
much.
Randy.
Good luck, Randy. We have a special event request for Portage Chamber and YMCA for their annual Brewfest.
Good morning.
Hi, Nancy.
Hello.
Good morning.
I'm Nancy Simpson with the Chamber of Commerce and asking for approval for our 6th annual Portage Brewfest, which we're changing the name this year. It used to be the Brewfest and Taco Test. Now it's called Portage's Best because we're inviting restaurants and food trucks to come and make their favorite dish, not just necessarily a taco. So we're calling it Portage's Best. It's not called Brewfest. We're going to try to bring more ciders, more wines in, because not everybody likes just beer. So it's Portage's Best. It's on the 18th of September from 4 to 7. We will be having the testing of the food and the alcohol. And then from 7 to 9, we will have the Craw Puppies play. And I already went through the park department and filled out the paperwork, and I already went through the health department and got the event license going.
So Nancy, is this going to be at the open air or at Founders?
It's going to be at the open air.
Okay.
Yes. And we shouldn't need any roads closed off. We've had it there the past 3 years, and there's plenty of parking. Mask mandates right now, we have it in our paperwork that they don't have to, but if something changes, we'll definitely abide by the rules, the COVID rules.
You had it last year though, didn't you? Did you have it last year?
We did have it, and you had to wear a mask.
Yeah.
And the health department was there, and they did make sure everybody had it on. Yeah.
Okay.
We did temperature checks last year too.
Yes, we did. That's right. We did temperature checks, which hopefully we don't have to do this year.
Yeah.
Let's hope you have a great day. That's a good time of the year to have it. Are there any, well, we need a motion first.
Make a motion that we approve the joint venture Chamber and Y for Portage's Best event on September 18th.
Second.
We have a motion by Scott, seconded by Steve. Any further questions? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Good luck. See you
Thank you.
there.
Thank you.
We have the Streetlight agreement with Phase 3 of Dunewood Trails.
Yes, Madam Mayor, members, I believe in your packet you've received the Streetlight agreement for the Dunewood subdivision. This agreement includes four street lights within that development. This development is the new single-family residential development to the west of Charlotta Woods off of Lakewood Street. Staff would recommend approving the Streetlight agreement in the amount of $3,067.12.
Is the dollar amount in here? Am I missing it?
I don't see it on here.
See the dollar amount?
We set the amount in the motion, and it'll continue. The amount is $3,067.12.
And this is paid by the developer?
Yes, sir.
What do you think, 3,006?
Okay, I make a motion that we approve the streetlight agreement this is for Dunewood Trails Phase 3, an amount of $3,067.12 paid by the developer.
I second that motion.
We have a motion by Scott, seconded by Joetta, to approve the streetlight agreement of Phase 3 of Dunewood Trails. For, well, we don't need the amount.
$3,067.12.
Yeah. Are there any further questions? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, AJ. Stay there, we have the opening quotes for the annual traffic signal maintenance.
We did not receive any quotes. We did receive correspondence this morning from the current contractor that there was a misunderstanding on the due date and the submission requirements. I've had an opportunity to speak with Attorney Whitten before the meeting, understanding that this was the case. His recommendation is to go out for quotes once again and to come back to this board at a subsequent meeting. Our current contractor apologizes for the mix-up.
Okay. So do we need to table that then? Just table it?
I think you can just someone can make a motion to allow AJ to let out for quotes again on the annual traffic signal maintenance. That should take care of this.
So we'll need a motion to approve AJ going out to seek quotes again for the annual traffic signal maintenance.
I make a motion that we give the authority to AJ to seek quotes for the annual traffic signal maintenance.
I second the motion.
We have a motion by Steve, seconded by Joetta. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Is the same true with opening of the quotes for the annual streetlight maintenance?
That solicitation just went out, Madam Mayor. We would request that that be tabled until the next meeting of the Board of Public Works and Safety to be open.
I make a motion to table the opening of the quotes for the annual streetlight maintenance.
I second the motion.
We have a motion and a second to table the quotes for the annual streetlight maintenance. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. We have the MOU for Central Avenue West.
I believe inside the board packet you will find a memorandum. Is that correct? Mm-hmm. Okay. This memorandum has been drafted by Porter County. I believe Attorney McClure was involved in its development.
So we can blame him that he spelled commissioners wrong.
Yes, sir, we will. Let's go with Scribner's error, Counselor. The memorandum of understanding formalizes and articulates the agreement between the City of Portage and Porter County as it relates to the Central Avenue West construction project, specifically relating to a new bridge that will be constructed over Willow Creek. It sort of the well, you know where Willow Creek is, a little bit west of Swanson Road. I believe Attorney Whitten has had an opportunity to review this document. We believe that we're in the appropriate board for its approval, and I would defer to Attorney Whitten if he has any additional comments regarding the memorandum.
No, I think you pretty much summed it up, AJ. This is the board that would need to approve this particular kind of MOU, and it kind of speaks for itself, but yes.
And then, Madam Mayor, members, if you have any other questions, I'll do my best to answer them.
So according to this MOU, the Porter County will be responsible for funding the bridge over Willow Creek through their bridge fund. Just exactly what is, could you just summarize if we have any financial responsibility?
We do not have any financial responsibility associated with the bridge. The bridge is part of the federal aid project for Central Avenue West. It's included in that project. Any costs associated with that will be handled by the county. That's their commitment here. They are already starting to work on right-of-way acquisition. So any aspect of this federal aid project related to the new bridge over Willow Creek on Central Avenue will be handled by Porter County.
That includes the paving of the road on the bridge?
No. Well, the bridge deck will be of concrete.
Okay.
The approaches, approaches, anything associated with the bridge structure itself will be handled by Porter County. The remainder, the balance, the roadway, et cetera, will be handled by the City of Portage in that federal aid project.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying.
You're welcome.
And when is that project expected to start?
The project is, bid letting is expected in March of 2022.
Okay.
That would be the first phase of the project. We are anticipating 2 construction seasons in calendar year 22 and in calendar year 23. And the entirety of this phase of the Central Avenue West project would extend from Brant Street on the west to Peach Street on the east.
And with this, AJ, it looks like Central will be closed then.
There will be the alignment for the new bridge over Willow Creek will be north of the existing bridge. So some of the work will take place while Central Avenue is open. There will be a point in time when roads are being reconstructed and one road's being removed, the other one's being rebuilt, that there will be a disruption of Central Avenue between Willowdale and Swanson Road.
All right, given that explanation, very detailed explanation by AJ, I make a motion to approve the memorandum of understanding between Porter County Board of Commissioners and the City of Portage, Board of Public Works, regarding the construction of the new bridge over Willow Creek on Central Avenue West.
Second.
We have a motion by Scott, seconded by Steve, to approve the memorandum of understanding between Porter County Commissioners and the City of Portage Public Works. Is there any further questions?
Just to let you know, Member Williams, that because there's no financial commitment, is why it's at this board. If we were committing funds, it would be at the City Council.
Thank you.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Great project. We have bulk item appeals.
Good morning. I just have one for the board to review from 1928 Samuelson Road. The owner has indicated that, as placed in the form here, I did not call the city and ask for this item to be picked up. I left it to be scrapped and had no idea that the city would take it. Within the city ordinance, within its trash policy and ordinance, it does state that residents are required to call ahead of time, set that schedule up. We have a lot of residents that don't do that. It also states in the ordinance that once an item is placed at the curb, you're given the city permission to service such an item. So I do have a documentation of the picture that we did pick it up. I'm asking the board to uphold the charge of the $25 service fee. I was hoping that the resident would be here today to explain further matters or answer questions.
Well, I kind of think that guy's making up some kind of story about he was going to get it for scrap metals. I make a motion to upheld the fee by the street department against the resident at 1928 Samuelson Road.
I second that motion.
We have a motion and a second to uphold the bulk item appeal that came before us. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 There you go, Randy, thank you. We have the claims of $872,734.90. Did everyone get an opportunity to review the claims?
Yes.
Just a couple questions, Madam Mayor, if I may.
Okay, we probably need a motion and a second and then questions.
Okay. Make a motion that we approve the claims contingent upon some questions that we may have.
I second that motion.
We have a motion by Scott, seconded by Joetta. Questions, Scott?
Okay. This is new on page 2. Teddy, maybe you can address this, or Chief Candiano. Faro Technologies, 1-year subscription for $10,884 and some change. Could you please explain to the board?
Sure. It's not new.
Okay.
It's the Faro Technologies laser scanning equipment that we have for all different types of crime scenes. I think we use it in the Milford case. We've used it on several of our serious crashes. So the equipment is over $100,000. 6,500-ish of that 10,000 is a maintenance agreement for the equipment. We're able to send it off annually, get it calibrated, make sure nothing's broke, and if there is something damaged, that $6,500 helps to take care of that. And that's an annual fee. The balance of that $10,000 is a 3-year software agreement that provides for all the software updates and the computer and things. As technology improves, these memberships and maintenance agreements are going to continue to pop up. And this doesn't happen to be a new one, but new ones are going to be on the horizon.
Thank you for that explanation. And on page 4, the fees associated with Horizon Bank, Clerk Treasurer Rivas, the payroll bank fees and general bank fees. I'm just curious why we would have payroll fees with the bank.
It's because it's our payroll account. We have multiple bank accounts, and that's for the payroll bank account, payroll clearing. You only get X amount of transactions a month, and then after that, there's a fee. It's typical.
But we handle payroll in-house, correct?
In-house and ADP,
Yeah, we have a,
but it
Right.
still has to clear our funds.
And then the bank is charging us a service fee?
Yes, they always have. So with the new chart of accounts, it's just better tells the story. You can see the bank fee. Before, it would just be tucked away in miscellaneous, due subscription miscellaneous line item. So this better.
so it was always there, just now it's more visible and we can see everything. correct?
Yeah.
That's good.
Appreciate the clarity. Yeah. I don't know if there's anything else. That's all I have, Madam Mayor.
Randy, I see on here that you did get your recycling flyers made.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what that's for too. Did she mail those out or?
They're being processed. As soon as the board approves it, she'll finish that process.
And does she mail them?
No, the post office doesn't mail.
I mean, but does she use a bulk stamp and mail them out, or how does that? So she has the list of names that are printed right on the flyer?
The actual post office does that, so she works jointly with the post office. The post office has the actual list.
Okay.
She prepares all the flyers with the stamp, everything else like that, and then she delivers those flyers to the post office, and then they distribute it.
So that goes to every home in the city?
I believe 16,000.
Okay. Good. I hope that helps refresh people's memory on how to recycle. Okay. Are there any other questions on the claims? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We have major illness claims.
Yes, Madam Mayor, there's not very many, just 12.
Ooh.
So there were 13 requests. One of them I needed more information, but I would recommend that 12 that I've approved be approved by the board. Thank you for that.
We need a motion to approve the 12 major claims.
I make a motion to approve the only just 12 major illness claims.
I'll second.
We have motion by Joetta, seconded by Steve. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Is there any other business to come before this board? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
I second that motion.
We have a motion by Steve, seconded by Joetta. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone.
I couldn't.